Hello, this is John Perivale with Access Arts Live with your weekend update of live streams of the performing arts for the weekend of January 10th through 12th. And do we have a lot of them? We have orchestras. We have, in addition to orchestras, we have some theatrical concerts coming up. All sorts of things. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you're watching us on YouTube, just go down there and click on the subscribe button. If you're following us on Facebook, you can just click the like button and we'll follow up with inviting you to follow the page. We'd love you to follow. And on our other pages too, likewise, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn. Please do follow us because then you will be sure to get notices of more than 1,000 live streams of live performances online coming up in 2025. Promise. Okay, let's get down to the business. I'm going to be very brief in all of these descriptions because we have already described these things in detail in previous live streams about the big gun productions, the orchestral works, and also about the kind of chamber works, which we'll also tell you about this weekend. And we'll be putting out individual clips to remind you about each of them. So let's get started right away tonight. It is now 6:30 in the evening, European time. In 1.5 hours, 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. The Gulbenkian Symphony Orchestra gets us started with this weekend's live streams with a program from the Viennese Romantic era during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, light waltzes and operetta songs by Strauss, Kallmann, Beer, Lehar, and others. That Isabelle Carls is the soprano. She's a French soprano. We give you the link to her own page so you can find out more about her if you want. You got an hour and a half to dig it up. Nikolai Shukov, the Austrian, is the tenor in this program. And among the songs they'll be doing is Franz Lehar's Dein ist mein ganzes Herz, la-di-da-dum, la-di-da-dum. You want to hear that kind of stuff and things like Joseph Beer's Polish Wedding? Well, check it out. It's free of charge. It would cost you between $30 and $60 or 28 and 58 euros to attend this in person. They give it to you for free. And by the way, in the pictures to my right there on screen, that's Isabelle Carls and Shukov, the Austrian tenor. What else do we have for you on Friday? On Friday, look, if that is not like orchestra enough for you, you want something lighter, well, the WDR Funkhaus Orchestra, what I like to call the Köln or Cologne Pops, which is what they are, they'll be playing a concert called the Swinging Twenties, quote unquote, light as a feather. And this also is free of charge at the same time as the Gulbenkian. So 8 o'clock in the evening in Europe, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. They'll be playing waltzes, foxtrots, operettas by Kurt Weill, Paul Abraham, Edward Kunicki. Now they'll be playing some pieces from Die Drei Großen Oper by Kurt Weill, including the Kanonen song, Soldaten wohnen auf den Kanonen, von Kap bis Kutschbehar. Yeah, that one. I like that one. And they'll also be doing the Tango Ballade. In einer Zeit, die nun vergangen ist, wären wir schön zusammen, die und ich. Come on, you gotta love that. And they're also doing some Korngold. So you have these two free of charge tonight, coming to you from Europe. Okay, what do we have next? Next up, and I don't have anybody to point out. Yeah, I do. In the lower left-hand corner, that's the publicity photo for the for what I call the Cologne Pops, and showing them looking very jazzy, which I'm sure is what they're going to be doing tonight. Okay, next up, we go to Saturday. We have several live streams for you on Saturday, small, medium, and big. At 11 o'clock on the 11th, Saturday the 11th, noon here in Europe, March Vivo, which is the YouTube channel of the One March Foundation in Madrid, will be live streaming musical polyglot Anthony Romaniuk. Now, he's going to be playing several different instruments to make some points about how different music is meant to be played. This is from early music all the way up to Beethoven. So he'll be playing Bach, CPE Bach, Mendelssohn, Bartók, and Beethoven. Okay, and he's playing all fantasias, which he conceives of as being based on improvisation. And in between some of the pieces, he's going to do improvisations to prove his point. The instruments he's going to be playing are a Taskin harpsichord model from 1769, an original historic Pleyel piano from 1853, and a Steinway grand piano from 2003. So, and do I have the picture of him where he's surrounded by several, I don't know if it's included in it. No, I didn't include it in this. There's a great picture of the guy sitting between four different instruments, which, hold on a second. Let me take just a half a second to show you, because we have time here today. We're going quickly. I think if I don't find it right away, I'm just going to move on. But it's such a great picture of a guy who's something of a fanatic about what he's doing. And sure, of course, I can't find it today. So let's move on. Now, that's early in the day. That's noon here in Europe. That'll be 6 in the morning on the East Coast, late night, 3 o'clock Friday night for those of you on the West Coast, and a lovely 10 p.m. in the evening, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Following up that a little later on Saturday at 6 in the evening European time, noon on the East Coast, your Saturday noon, and 9 in your Saturday morning on the West Coast, 8 o'clock Moscow time. Art Benet will be live streaming Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker as a musical fairy tale, presented with sand animation by Lydia Miller at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Now, the full title is called The Nutcracker and the Mouse King, a musical fairy tale with sand animation. I think I have a picture up there for you. Yes, I do. Of in the bottom row, that's Lydia at work doing sand animation. She will be creating the images on that board, which will then be projected on the screen, and which you will also see on your YouTube screen. If you've never seen it before, it's really cool. Invented by a terrific, a brilliant woman named Caroline Leaf, who was going to school at Harvard way back in the 60s, one of the first probably. But it spread to a lot of different countries around the world, although I don't know if it's known at all in the US. I never knew about it. Then finishing up your Saturday evening comes your big stage production. The Berlin Philharmonic has a live stream program, which is all about new beginnings, including the spring. Now, this will include doing Lily Boulanger's D'un Matin de Printemps, which everybody was doing last summer on every continent in the North and Southern hemispheres, and by orchestras and by chamber groups. Anyway, and then they will finish up with Gustav Mahler's Symphony No. 1 in D minor, which he himself said was about the spring. But in between, here's the interesting one. In between, Mihály Gross, whom you see in the photograph there, lovingly holding his viola next to him, the third one from the left there, or the second one from the right, he will be playing a new piece. So this is even more newness, right? By Dong-Hun Shin, called Thread Sons, based on a poem by Paul Celan. And if you look back at our Wednesday evening live stream, you can get me doing a recitation of the poem. But I'm not doing it here because we're being brief. But this piece, called Thread Sons for viola and orchestra, was actually commissioned by the Berlin Philharmonic, the Minnesota Orchestra, and a couple other orchestras. So you can't get much more newness than that. Boulanger, Shin, and Gustav Mahler. Now this one, unlike the other things I've told you about, it's not free of charge. The Berlin Phil charges you a minimum €9.90, which is about 11 US dollars, for a 7-day voucher, or 16.90 euros for a 1-month voucher. But bear this in mind. They do more than one live stream per month. So if you look on their calendar, see how many live streams they're doing to see how many you get in a month. Usually you're not going to get more than one in a week, though. So there's that on Saturday night, and that's your Saturday. This brings us to winding up on Sunday. Sunday, on September 12th at noon in Europe, March Vivo is back with their Young Performers series, live streaming Mihály Mihály Berecz, who's going to be contrasting the sound of the contemporary piano with the sound of the 19th century piano, like 1853, like Kostyuk was playing on. He'll be playing Haydn, Bartók, Debussy, and Chopin, trying to make a point about how there were different tones and nuances which were built into the earlier pianos, which are not there in our more modern piano. After, did I give you the time? Yeah, that's their noontime concert, 6 in the morning on the East Coast. But late night, 3 o'clock, if you're up late Saturday night, you might want to check it out. It's free of charge. Thereafter, at 4 in the afternoon European time, 10 o'clock your Sunday morning on the East Coast, 7 o'clock your early Sunday morning on the West Coast, St. Mary's Perivale will be presenting what we consider a highly interesting concert. This is called Dear Father. It's about Mozart and his father, Leopold Mozart. And so there will be a series of several of Mozart's string quartets played by the very accomplished and distinguished bridge quartet, while actor Christopher Kent, who's a specialist in this kind of theatrical concert, will be delivering dramatic readings from letters written up and back between Leopold and his son from an early age on, because Mozart was already playing and publishing when he was 6 years old. This was a typical parent, young genius kind of relationship, like in I guess it's not an apt comparison, but like Gypsy Rose Lee and her mother. But anyway, so you may want to check that out. Christopher Kent is a really good actor. He's very well accomplished in various fields. And then to end up the weekend, the London Symphony Orchestra is going to be live streamed by Stage Plus, which is a little different. Usually Stage Plus, which is a Deutsche Grammophon joint, is down on the mainland and at festivals and like this. So I'm not aware of them having done the LSO before. Now, they're going to be doing Michael Tippett's Ritual Dances from his Midsummer Marriage. They'll be finishing up with Vaughan Williams's Symphony No. 5 in D major. All of that is interesting enough, I guess. The really interesting part is that Simon Rattle will be conducting John Scofield, the guitarist. You see him there in the photo in the upper right-hand corner with his guitar, okay? Playing a piece composed by that composer, the second one from the right, Mark Anthony Turnage, which Mark Anthony Turnage composed for John Scofield to play. It's a guitar concerto, and it is a concerto in honor of Simon Rattle, the conductor's 70th birthday. So, I mean, how much more rare and superb can you get than an esteemed conductor conducting a concerto composed in his honor to be played by the person who's playing it and being conducted by Simon Rattle? This is special. If you like any of the three, or even if you don't like any of the three, it's an amazing combination. Now, there is an EEC, as the French would say. It's not free of charge. It's Stage Plus. And they also charge you €9.90 for a 7-day voucher, or €14.90, about $16 for a month subscription. They do a fair amount of live streaming when they're up and running in the busier parts of the year. So if you may have an interest in that, you want to check out their how many live streams they're doing in the month. If they're doing 4 of them, well, now you're coming down to something like $3 and some cents per concert, which, given the high quality of what Stage Plus does, may be entirely worth it. I hope this provided you enough of a reminder so you can fire up your computers, connect up your headphones or your earphones or your loudspeakers, your surround sound, and enjoy the evening. And for some of the stuff, invite some friends over to dance with you if that's your pleasure. Remember, subscribe to Access Arts Live on any of our platforms, especially on YouTube and Facebook. We guarantee we're going to give you live links to more than 1,000 live performances online in 2025. And that won't even be all the performances going on. Those will be the best ones we can find. There's a lot more than that going on already. We've been doing this for 6 months. I know what the numbers are. I know what we can deliver. I hope that one, more, or any of these live streams this weekend inspires you, uplifts you, or just gives you a great time. Ciao for now, and we'll see you next week.